All right, so this first lesson is all about vocabulary words. I encourage you to study these words so you know exactly what we're talking about when we move on with the rest of the lessons. So this unit's all about circles. Circle is the set of all points in a plane that are equidistant from a given point. So this is a circle. A circle is always going to have a center point. And then you may see a letter written next to that center point. That's how we name a circle. So we would name this circle A. A radius is the segment drawn from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. All radii in a circle are equal. So this is an example of a radius from the center to a point on the circle. And no matter where you draw your radius at on your circle, it will be equal to the radius that I just drew. So let's put that in our notes. The plural of radius is radii. And we would just name this as a segment, segment AB. A chord is a segment whose endpoints are on the circle. So we have this circle here. Whoops. And this would be a chord. So both endpoints are on the circle. A diameter is a special chord because a diameter is a chord that runs through the center of your circle. So if we had the center of our circle being A diameter is a chord that runs through that center. And remember, a chord has endpoints on the edges of our circle. So BC would be your diameter here. A secant line is a line that intersects a circle at 2 points. So instead of it being a segment like a chord is, it's just going to continue outside of your circle. So a secant can look something like this, where it's a continuation of a line. And so we have, let's do AB again. That would be a secant. So the difference between a secant and a chord is a chord's a segment. It stops at the edges of the circle, whereas a secant runs through your circle. A tangent line intersects your circle exactly at 1 point. So what that means is, whoops, it would, let's say that it intersects at this point here. It would just look like this. So it's only, oops, let me redraw that. So it's only going to intersect the circle at that 1 point. That is a tangent line. So the difference between a secant line and a tangent line is a secant intersects the circle at 2 points and goes through the circle, whereas a tangent line only intersects the circle at 1 point, and it doesn't go through the circle, it's just on the outside of your circle. Concentric circles are circles that have the same center but different radii. So it's a circle within a circle, essentially. So something like this. So they both have the same center, which would be this point here, which I'm labeling as point A. But the radii of the smaller circle is obviously smaller than the radii or the radius of the larger circle. So these are concentric circles. They share the same center, but they have different size radiuses or radii. Tangent circles, these are two circles that intersect exactly at one point. So just like a tangent line where the circle or where the line intersects the circle at one point, tangent circles intersect each other at one point. There are two different ways that we can draw tangent circles. They could look, and tangent circles do not need to be the same size, but it could look something like this, where the two circles just intersect right here. Or it could look something like this, where the two circles intersect at one point just right here. So these are two different diagrams that show tangent circles. A common tangent is when a line intersects two circles, but again, a tangent is when it intersects both of those circles at one point. So it could look something like this, where we have two circles and there's two different types of tangent or common tangents. There is an external tangent. What an external tangent is and again, this is a common tangent. So it intersects both circles just at one point, but it's on the outside or the exterior of the whole entire diagram, whereas an internal tangent is in between the two circles. So it intersects right here in both circles, but it goes in between the two circles. All right, central angles. This is a big one that I need you guys to remember. So a central angle is an angle whose vertex is the center of your circle, and then the rays of your angle are created by the radii. So this is a central angle. Now, something that's huge with a central angle is if the angle is 60 degrees, then the arc that it intercepts, which means it's the arc that's in between the two radii, is also 60 degrees. So let's put this in our notes. That a central angle is equal to the arc that it intercepts. That's important for you to know. An inscribed angle, we'll learn more about inscribed angles, but an inscribed angle is created by the vertex being on the edge of a circle. Whoops. And the rays of your angle or the sides of your angle being chords of your circle. So something like this. Now there is a relationship between the angle itself and the arc that it intercepts, but we'll learn that a little bit later. So speaking of arcs, an arc is the part of a circle consisting between two endpoints. So it's a part of the circumference of your circle, which the circumference is the distance all the way around your circle. So an arc actually is part of that circumference. So I have 2 points on my circle. This would be considered an arc. Now an arc can be less than half of your circle, like this one is, or it can be more than half of your circle, or it can be exactly half of your circle. So there's 3 types of arcs that we could be dealing with. An arc that's less than half of your circle is called a minor arc. So that would be like exactly like the one that I drew above. However, so it could be something like this is a minor arc. However, we need to determine how we name minor arcs. Minor arcs can be named with 2 or 3 letters. So I can name this arc, and I'm talking about the whole pink arc. I can name this arc AC, or I can name this arc ABC. A major arc is an arc that's more than half of your circle, and a major arc can only be named with 3 letters. So a major arc could look something like this. This is a major arc. It's more than half of your circle, and the only way that we can just name this is arc ABC. And then a semicircle is an arc that's exactly half of your circle. So it would span the diameter of your circle. So if we have the center of our circle being here, a semicircle would start at one edge of your diameter and end at the other edge of your diameter. So it would look like this. A semicircle can be named with 2 or 3 letters. So this could be arc BD, or it could be arc BCD. And our last vocabulary word is an inscribed polygon. What that means is that it's a polygon in which all the vertices lie on the circle. So let's say that I have a circle here, and I'm going to do an inscribed quadrilateral. That would mean that all 4 vertices of your quadrilateral are on your circle. Just like this. So the quadrilateral is on the inside of your circle. All right, so we are actually going to continue on with the example problems in the next video, so please do so.